stand in solidarity with.
We stand in solidarity with.
Barry Mitchell.
Barry Mitchell.
We stand in solidarity with.
We stand in solidarity with.
Abigail Posey Ratcliffe.
Abigail Posey Ratcliffe.
Hi everyone, my name is Frida. I'm Roger's partner, and he wrote louder, yeah, loud enough. And he wrote a little statement for this occasion yesterday. He wrote, "Okay, hello everybody. I've been asked to say a few things today. First of all, thank you very much to the people who have written to me and other people who have been in prison. As everyone knows, prison can be quite difficult. It's good to be able to watch the World Cup, dare I say it. I always feel very humbled to be part of this community of resistance that's built up over the last 2 years. The values of trust and service are very important to me, like they are to many other people. I guess that the future is going to get more difficult as social and ecological crises merge together. I hope that the campaigns that we can run provide a model of kindness and mutual support, and that this can provide an alternative vision of society as an alternative to the cruelty and violence that we see around us. I'm sure that many of us did not choose to do this work, but we are where we are. I want to be clear that I'm completely dedicated to this community, and I thank everyone so much for all that you're doing. Thank you very much."
We stand in solidarity with.
We stand in solidarity with.
Heidi Russenberger.
Heidi Russenberger.
We stand in solidarity with.
We stand in solidarity with.
Al Wilcox.
Al Wilcox.
I'm really humbled by all the people that are in prison at the moment, and I know amongst us there's quite a lot of people that have already been to prison. So I thought maybe if you haven't been to prison, could you just bob down slightly and just leave the people standing who have been? I just want to give them a round of applause. So if you have already been to prison for the cause, stay standing, and if you haven't, kneel down. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, we can stand back up again now, well done. I genuinely believe that fascism is on the rise. Call me crazy, but we know when society starts to collapse, people are going to get desperate and people are going to vote in a government that promises control. And it is my belief that all of the good people will be in prison one day. So, realising that, it is up to every single one of us to get comfortable with that idea, because we're all going to be tested and we're all going to be asked what side of history that we want to stand on. And it is only by doing it that we're going to work through those fear barriers. So thank you to the people that have already done it. I was on trial last week with the Barclays 7. We were found... Yeah. We thought we were going to get not guilty by a jury. It didn't happen. We got found guilty by a jury last week and will be sentenced on the 27th of January. So you're all welcome to come. 7 of us are almost definitely going to prison, and I'm not worried about it at all. I think it's going to be... I'm walking in the footsteps of people that have already gone before, so I'm not worried about it at all. Obviously the normal amount of worry, but I'm happy to do it, and I hope that everyone can work through their fear barriers and get comfortable with that, because fear of prison is the only thing they've got. If we're not afraid of that, there's absolutely nothing that they cannot do to us in this country. So, okay, I'm terrible at wrapping up, so I'm just going to say thank you everyone, all the people who are in prison, the people that are going to go, we're all wonderful, and yeah, lots of love.
We stand in solidarity with.
We stand in solidarity with.
Callum Good.
Callum Good.
We stand in solidarity with.
We stand in solidarity with.
Catherine Benny Nash.
Catherine Benny Nash.
Bleachy is a gardener from Portsmouth, or as we call it, Pompey, who lives with his wife and 2 beautiful daughters. He doesn't like wearing shoes, and he prefers to sleep on the floor. Bleachy is one of the kindest people you will meet. He volunteered at the local vaccination centre during the COVID-19 pandemic. He gifted a bike to a young girl who started up a zero-waste shop in our city. After hearing that me and my partner had just moved to Portsmouth and wanted to find out where we could find local fresh produce, He just dropped a box of fruit and veg round to us from a local business. Bleachy is a carer for a 92-year-old lady called Joan, who completely depends on him. She has entrusted him with her health, her safety, her security, and her finances. And now she is unprotected, because this corrupt government would rather imprison an innocent man without trial than prevent the collapse of our world. Bleachy has been in prison since Tuesday, the 8th of November, 33 days to this date, for climbing a gantry on the M25 in an act of non-violent civil resistance against the government's genocidal inaction on the climate and ecological emergency. An emergency that has seen 40-degree heat in the UK, when climate scientists predicted there was less than a 0.1% chance of us reaching that heat. An emergency that's seen roughly 33 million people in Pakistan displaced, which equates to roughly half the UK population. An emergency that has seen over 22 million people on the Horn of Africa at risk of starvation. Bleachy has no previous convictions. He wasn't breaking any conditions of bail when he was arrested. And before October of this year, he's never done anything like this before. Bleachy, like many of us, is desperate. We heard on Wednesday that the criminal justice system could hold him in prison until May 2023. That's a total of 6 months without trial. Bleachy is one of the 25 climate-related prisoners currently in prison at the moment, the majority of them on remand without a guilty verdict. We couldn't get a proper statement from Bleachy today because from Thursday the 8th of December, so 2 days ago, he's not been allowed out of his cell due to staff shortages. But I've got an extract from a letter here that he sent. This is from Bleachy. Hello, Wandsworth calling. Greetings, warm hellos to you rebels with a cause. Protesters, the courageous ones, the annoying ones, the get off your benefits and get yourself a job ones, lol. The activists, the demonstrators, the militants and supporters, whichever you prefer, if any at all. You are the kind and caring ones, So hello from me, Bleachy, residing in HMP Wandsworth. How are you? I do trust that overall you are doing well and hopefully just dandy-ish. I'm hanging on to the threads of positivities, like seeing loved ones at some point, receiving emails and posts and phone calls, and making shopping orders on the kiosk, laughing at the turnaround time for delivery, which is about a week, how frickin' long the gets. Clutching at the beauty snippets of news that constantly dribble in from the outside world. We are making a frickin' difference. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, governments. Laughing, smiling, or shedding emotional tears with your communications received by putting into perspective our experiences here in the clink, as described by the 92-year-old lady Joan I care for. That is comparing our experience with those in the world who are suffering through no fault of their own, whether climate-related, war zones, past and present, whether they had disabilities, terminal illnesses or not terminal, being bullied or tormented, etc. I am not suffering. How can I be? Yeah, I'm put out. I'm inconvenienced, temporarily removed from my personal adventure and my everyday life back in Portsmouth. On my cell wall, it's written in large writing, riding in style with a Pompey smile. I cannot wait to smell the mudflats and hear the seagulls when I'm out of here. I wish to extend my warm greetings and hellos to all the supporters and helpers who work tirelessly and effortlessly behind the scenes, for all the campaign groups in the UK and all around our beautiful place called Earth. Those operating in the think tanks who offer financial support, thank you, because without your actions, our actions would never materialise, and that's the difference we are seeing currently. That's gently snowballing its long way towards the crossroads of change. Thank you everyone for the kind and considerate thoughts. Every word written is cherished and most welcome. For me, every one of these words are a kind of fuel which I will store, ready to be used in our continued quest for common sense. Onwards and upwards, keep up the spirit. Love, courage and solidarity. Bleachy of Wandsworth. Thank you.
Cost of living!
And the cost of living!
Energy!
Energy!
A climate crisis!
And climate crisis!
The German Letzte Generation is in solidarity. Actually, we've been for months looking up to Just Stop Oil and the fantastic work, the groundbreaking work that you've been doing in this country for high-stakes activism. And it seems, and I'm really glad to say so, it seems that Letzte Generation is overtaking Just Stop Oil. We got some fantastic news in Germany. We might be nearing a social tipping point. Just a few fun facts. We blocked the Berlin airport. We blocked last week the Berlin and the Munich airport. Munich has outlawed the use of glue in any protests. There was a authority order to Woolworth, a German discounter, to pull its 6-gram superglue from its shelves. Fundraising 70,000 euros since last Saturday, all in small donations. Since early November, 1,600 people have signed up on our webpage, 266 of those willing to go to prison. We have a direct way into prison thanks to the anti-terrorism law in Munich, in Bavaria. And we got right now these 11 climate protectors in prison, 2 of them until the next year. And any of those released before Christmas are likely to go right back onto the street. We got mothers in Germany who are saying goodbye to their families because they will spend Christmas in prison. So this is all very encouraging news, and they're not stopping for Christmas, they're not stopping in January. The blogs are all about how can we keep our feet and hand warm. We're on the street day after day. So thank you so much.
Hi everybody, I'm fresh out of a month in Bronzefields. It might sound strange, but I had a great time in prison. When you're an introvert, it's not a punishment to be locked in a room with a book. There are many interesting people in prison with fascinating and sometimes heartbreaking stories to tell. And there are also daily acts of care and kindness. In yoga, they say that the only thing that you really own is your breath. Everything else can be taken off you. And this is true of prison. They can take all your stuff, your books, your list of phone numbers, your watch, your clothes, your shoes. When they close that cell door, there is just you and your breath. But that is everything. They can't take your breath, and they can't take your heart or your brain or your soul. And if you have these things, then you have everything that you need. And they can't take anything from you, and that is power. Combine that with the collective love and support within the movement, and we are unstoppable. Thank you.
We are Just Stop Oil.
We are Just Stop Oil.
We are marching.
We are marching.
Because the British government
is not taking action.
Yeah, I got out of Bronzefield after a month 2 days ago. I am obviously really happy to be out, but it feels bittersweet knowing that there's still 25 people in there. 25 innocent people whose only crime is caring about our people and our planet, and standing up to a government whose inaction on the climate crisis is what is criminal. Earlier this year, they were found guilty of not meeting their legally binding net zero agreements. Yet it's our friends who are still stuck in prison without trial, not found guilty, many of them denied bail and not knowing when they're getting out, for demanding that the government take the first no-brainer step to avoiding climate catastrophe and halting all new fossil fuel licenses. The UN have said we can have no new fossil fuel licenses. The IEA have said we can have no new fossil fuel licenses. All leading climate scientists say no new fossil fuel licenses. Yet the government is still issuing over 100 new licenses. How many more experts have to say it before young people like me can go back to having a normal student life. I didn't think I would spend my uni freshers term in prison. It's crazy to me. Prison really wasn't that bad though. You know, I was in there with amazing friends, the bravest, most loving and caring people I know. And the people still in there, they are still sacrificing their freedoms every single day, sacrificing careers, uni places, family relationships, some of them. And we can't let that sacrifice be in vain. We have to keep resisting. We need as many people as we can until the government meets our demand and immediately halts all new fossil fuel licenses. Thank you to everyone who supported on the outside. I didn't realise how much it would mean getting those messages of support, knowing that when you're sat in there and you feel quite useless, it's not in vain. So that's why we need to keep fighting and make sure those people still in there, their sacrifice isn't in vain. Thank you.
When London lies under the ocean. When London lies under the sea. When London lies under the ocean.
Hello everyone, my name's Sophie Cowan. I'm speaking on behalf of myself really, because I think we have campaigns that we are part of, but ultimately we're all here because we just want an end to this madness. And sometimes we feel that sitting in roads is important. Sometimes we feel that standing in a pub with our friends and chatting about what is going on and pushing them a little bit further to step out and step above the parapet is important. And sometimes we think that breaking windows of banks that are destroying us is important. I've just come out of 2 weeks with Gabby over there and 5 other incredible women as part of the Barclays 7 trial for criminal damage on Barclays. We caused just under £100,000 of damage to the windows of Barclays HQ in Canary Wharf. It was damage, sure, but I still do not believe it was criminal. What is criminal is...
I've just been silent. So much talking over the last couple of weeks. We've been standing up on trial in front of 12 of our peers. So Barclays are the real criminals. Barclays should be prosecuted, but unfortunately there are no international laws for ecocide. There are no international laws that hold the banks that people seem to care about, seem to feel loyal to, seem to trust with their money. There are no laws to condemn them. So we were on trial for 2 weeks. I am utterly exhausted. I'm complete strange, so sorry if this doesn't make too much sense. But we were in front of 12 of our peers, and for me, the most heartbreaking piece of those 2 weeks was watching at least half of that jury connect with the crisis. For the first time, perhaps for some of them, they became aware of the reality of what we're all facing. And there were tears, there was shaking, there was people looking down, there was connecting with each other. It was extraordinary to watch that happen over 2 weeks in that courtroom. We were convicted guilty 11-1. And I want to just take a moment to celebrate that one person who, despite being told essentially by the authority that this wasn't a trial about Barclays, that this wasn't a trial about financial institutions destroying our future, that one jury member stood up and said, this is about justice, true justice. And I just celebrate that human. So if we could just give a little waving. So I think this is the journey we're on. It's about supporting the people that feel that they can't stand up. It's supporting them along their journey to stand up. I believe that people in that courtroom, over the next few months, years, the people in that courtroom over the next few months and years will realise that they need to stand up.
No new gas!
No new gas!
No new coal!
No new coal!
Insolation! Britain!
Insulate Britain!
Insulate Britain!
Insulate Britain!
So we stop when we start, and we stop when we start. But I believe the real work here is connecting with the people that are close to us that haven't quite stepped into their power yet. And it's not about shaming them for not getting out on the street. I've definitely been in that place before. It's about helping them to see that the rules that are fixed, they think are fixed, do not need to be fixed. And that they have the power in themselves to step up. And I really believe that. So it's about our friends and family, people we haven't connected with for a really long time, just recognising that they have the power in them too, and they just need to be brought on that journey. So in January we will face sentencing. It's a guidelines of 6 months to 18 months in prison. January the 27th we will see what the judge wants to do with us. Solidarity!
Take action!
We take action
We take action!
because you won't.
Because you won't!
You take action,
You take action!
we'll go home.
We'll go home!
Also, for the people on the outside, this time last year my partner was in prison for Insulate Britain, and it was an incredibly difficult lead up and few months when he was inside for both him, for his fellow prisoners, but also for his family and their families. Because it's not just about the people that go to prison, it's about the people that support them through. And I don't think we should underestimate how hard it is to watch the people that you love be put inside. So I just want to send love and solidarity to all the people that are on the outside caring for those people that are on the inside, because that is as vital a role as it is. And yeah, just my final word is, as I said to the members of the jury and the prosecution, there will be no women in that courtroom in positions of agency, either women jurors or women prosecutors, women barristers, if the suffragette campaign hadn't happened. And the suffragettes broke windows again and again and again. And they were listened to. There were people on the inside doing the lobbying work. There were people on the outside raising the alarm. All methods of campaigning are necessary, and we have to continue until there is an answer. And I believe that we need to just listen to our people that have come before us, because it's not about us, it's about the legacy of people who have stood up because they care. And that's really lovely. Oh, I'd rather go to prison than be dead.
Oh, I'd rather go to prison than be dead. Oh, I'd rather go to prison.
Rather go to prison, rather go to prison than be dead.
I'm Louise, a 24-year-old singer-songwriter from St Albans, or the hysterical eco-zealot, Cambridge-educated, wannabe pop star vegan sobbing on top of a gantry on the M25. It depends on what newspaper you read. I'm sad to not be with you here today. It turns out that the courts believe me that leaving Harpington would be a threat to society. But she says, I guess I'm just going to have to only kill people in Harpington then. Joking. I'll cut to the chase. I spent 8 days in Bronzefield prison. Honestly, it was fine. Like literally, it was fine. But even if it wasn't fine, that doesn't matter to me. Because every single day, every single waking hour, I am trying to find a way to fight for my life. I went to prison as a result of one of those attempts. It hasn't worked. Yet. So I'll try something else. But don't you find it sad how I actually found coming out of prison harder than going in? Because as soon as I stepped outside of those barbed wire gates, the weight of the real world fell on my shoulders again. I once again could do something about the climate crisis. so I once again had the responsibility to. And now I'm going to say something that's very difficult and abrasive to hear, but it needs to be said. It is 3:26 a.m. as I write this, and I'm literally having sleepless nights over the fact that we now have only 1.5 to 2.5 years left, according to Sir David King, to save humanity. And still, no one is panicking, except me. Except a tiny percentage of people who choose to face the true reality of this horror head on and say, fuck off with that. Sorry. I am bereft. I am scared. I am desperate. But you know who breaks my heart the most? It's not the politicians and the media, who I now expect to be corrupt. It's the faces of my family, my friends, and the strangers who direct message me on Instagram saying, I support you. It's the people who say, I'm so proud of you, and mean it with all their heart, but continue with their business as usual lives and their 9-to-5 job to earn an excessive amount a year, to buy a house with their partner and a dog, and to go to Spain on holiday, who spend their money, their time, their energy on enjoying the now, whilst jeopardising their own future, everyone's future, with their inaction. You break my heart. If you are listening to this speech right now, and you yourself know that you are not doing all you can to fight the greatest genocide humanity will ever know, it is you who breaks my heart. Because as Albert Einstein said, the world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything. The Nazis were just following the rules. If all of them had just thought, I can make a difference by just saying no and fighting this genocidal regime, poof, it wouldn't have happened. If you are not fighting, you are letting it happen. The UK government just approved a new fucking coal mine, for God's sake. It's getting worse and worse. Are you going to go down without a fight? Many of our voices are currently going unheard. Is that because they're not being used? And I say all this, not despite me loving you. It's because I love you. Because you and your loved ones deserve a world where children laugh happily in the playgrounds at school, making daisy chains, not cowering under their desks because war has broken out over food and water and resources. Because you and your loved ones deserve a world in which families gather for Christmas in warm, toasty homes to enjoy a delicious, sustainable meal, not freeze or starve to death in their own homes because they can't afford to live anymore. Because you and your loved ones deserve more than to just be murdered by those who are meant to protect you. Please, please don't let them win. Going to prison is not the goal. Saving humanity is the goal. But when faced with an oppressive, authoritarian government in bed with a destructive, deadly industry, sometimes that is the price we pay. I came across a quote the other day, an Ethiopian proverb, which I'll leave you with. It says, when spiders unite, they can tie down a lion. You are a beautiful, special, powerful spider. Create your web and join it with ours. We can't do this without you. Thank you.
My friend Christopher Ford.
My friend Christopher Ford
Went to prison quite unexpectedly.
went to prison quite unexpectedly.
And one of the most beautiful things about it
And one of the most beautiful things about it
was to see how people rallied together
was to see how people rallied together
to find out his prisoner number,
to find out his prisoner number,
to top up his account,
to top up his accounts,
so that he can make phone calls,
so that he can make phone calls.
Who drew postcards and sent letters.
Who drew postcards and sent letters.
We have a beautiful community.
We have a beautiful community.
And the Homo sapiens in yellow high vis are welcome to join that community. But you'll have to take off your yellow high vis. And change it for an orange one. And trust me, it's a lot better in orange. At some point in time, your job is going to be a lot harder than dealing with these people on this road right now.
Your job is going to be a lot harder than dealing with the people on this road right now.
This is not a threat.
This is not a threat.
We are the non-violent version of what is coming.
We are the non-violent version of what is coming.
As the government tries to take our rights to protest, how do you think people will respond? We take accountability for our actions. There will be people blowing up pipelines who are desperate. This death machine that the government has going needs stopping, and we are a best version of doing it, so I'd appreciate it. If you went home and told your loved ones you're going to quit your job and join Just Stop Oil!
And let their children die. So you can make a profit. If you want us to stop, take action.
See what he said? Take off my orange jacket, yellow jacket. Join you with an orange jacket. When one police officer does that, it will be a major step in stopping societal collapse. I know you have your pensions. But they count for nothing. On a dead planet. My name is Larch. I was in prison for 15 days. In Pentonville last year. For taking action against HS2. Europe's most destructive scheme. Pumping 15 million tons of CO2. Destroying 1,000 homes. Destroying 1,000 businesses. And the greatest deforestation since World War I. I wasn't planning on being in prison. But it was an empowering experience. Because I had 236 letters of support. And my wall was covered with pictures and poems people sent in. And I met some amazing people. In an institution that's fucked. Humanity shines through. And that is the metaphor for what we have to do. This system is fucked. Our humanity is shining through. So together, we can build this unstoppable movement. Thank you.
Public order. Shite!
Protest is a human right!
Protest is a human right!
The public order bill is shite!
The public order bill is shite!
Protest is a human right!
Protest is a human right!